Hello, good evening, and welcome to Pulse of the Week, the midweek edition on NSG News with yours truly, Kofi, Asante, Mensah. Wherever you are watching us from our Adenta Amahia studios here in Accra, Ghana, we say a big welcome to you. From the political debate to all the news stories around judicial shakeup in our country, Ghana, we'll be coming back to outline all the topics we have for discussion today. And our special guest we have on Zoom for this intellectual discourse. Welcome to Pulse of the Week, where we gauge the mood of the nation politically and democratically and governance with relating to education, security, and everything, health, everything. We deal with all stories. And when I return, we'll be gathering momentum to enter into the stories from Monday to today, Wednesday. Welcome. So welcome back. Let's begin from the eastern region because the Akwatia bar election was actually held yesterday, the second day of September, and that was quite a much anticipated bar election. And eventually it came up who was crowned the winner of that very bar election. Well, we'll get to know and make a lot of analysis. We'll do forensic analysis and DNA analysis of that very by-election, and my special guest will help me to do that. We'll unravel all the big stories, the strategies they use, the campaign strategies, and who has a lot of resources in that very by-election. The predictions and the polls that came up. The pollster, Mussa Dankwa, will be joining me pretty shortly for that intellectual discussion. I must say, we'll deal with security because several things happened over there at Akwatia. We turn our attention to security issues, safety of voters, pre or before, during, and after the election or the polls. We'll look at security and measure how security institutions fared with respect to the Akwatia bar election. We would also gather momentum to talk more about our democracy. People are saying our judicial democracy is sliding, and it's going down because of the removal of the Chief Justice by John Dramani Mahama. Would we be fair to say he has removed the Chief Justice, or the Constitution has removed the Chief Justice? I have a special guest for you today who will be digging deep, diving very deep into the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And I'm here to put all the questions to him. So you're welcome. Just after this breather, our guest will join us. Hello, welcome back, and it's still Pulse of the Week here on NSG News, and we are live around the world on www.nsgnews.com. Please visit our pages on all social media platforms, like them, and please follow us. Thank you very much. My name is yours truly, Kofi, Asante, Mensah. Time to welcome my very first guest for this very intellectual discussion, and Mr. Mussa Dankwa, the Executive Director for I must say, Global Info Analytics. Yes, is here. The gentleman who predicted right and probably got it right again. Mr. Mussa Dankwa, a pleasure to have you. I think you have to unmute. I can't hear you. Okay, let the technical people look at this briefly. Yes. All right. So we are talking about the Akwatia bar election, where the competition, I must say, or the contest was between some three candidates, one from the LPG and one from the NPP and one also from the NDC. And we'll look at the results as declared by the Electoral Commission. I'm sure you can hear me now, sir.
Yes, I can.
Yes, hear you, and I can also hear you very well. Mr. Mussa Dankwa, welcome.
Thank you.
Grateful. Now, let's look into it. You predicted it, and it has happened.
Yes. The polling numbers were saying exactly what is going to happen. But we did have a very high confidence level for the survey we conducted. The confidence level was 99%. And the margin of error was 2.7%. So either way, if you deduct the margin of error from the headline poll we gave the NDC bid, it was still above 50%. If you add the margin of error to MPP's candidate, it doesn't cross 50%. So we were very confident that the results will pan out on election day.
Now, as it stands, he had 54.30%. Your poll was around 53 point something.
Yes, we gave him 53%, and then the poll came back. The actual result was 54.1 or so.
That's perfectly so close.
Within the post. Yes, that's within the post margin of error. You cannot get precision like that.
Mr. Mussa Dankwa, let's look into it. You have witnessed the election before the D-Day, the 2nd of September. We went through the election, and today, the 3rd of September, we are here looking at the numbers. What worked for the NDC strategically, message-wise, campaign-wise? For me, I think they even had just 2 weeks to prepare for this very election because of the demise of gallant heroes who passed on in the helicopter crash. So they couldn't pay much attention. Just within 2 weeks, they've been able to be successful with this very election. What worked?
They had something going their way in terms of the candidate the MPP presented with them. That was an opportunity for NDC and an own goal from MPP.
Wow.
In the sense that they misjudged and miscalculated Akwatia constituency and its demography. They had believed that Akwatia is full of miners, people with low level of education, and for that matter, you find them in mining. And so we have to pick somebody who looks like them, a miner himself, so he can fit in and blend. Unfortunately, Akwatia is highly educated.
So the choice of candidates was a problem for the New Patriotic Party. We realized they didn't open up for primaries.
Absolutely not. And they picked the wrong candidate in terms of what the people were looking for in their MP. If you look at those with a higher level of education, which form the majority of the people in Akwatia, about 60% of the people there have a senior high or degree level qualification. So these are highly educated people. And the guy didn't look like he will represent them. They didn't see the guy as fit to represent them. I think MPP may have worked with outdated data because 2016, they won heavily with the candidate who did not have high level of education, I must say. But between 2016 and 2025, the demography has changed and they weren't aware of it.
What happened? This is a party that has been in power for years, been in opposition for years. They are quite experienced. We have experience in the New Patriotic Party. And Amase was still around. What happened?
They didn't pay attention to data. They thought picking someone who is the treasurer of the party, who is himself a miner, would attract the miners in the constituency. But mind you, the miners in the constituency are not voters of Akwatia. They are migrant workers. They come there to work, earn a living, and go back home. So you might see a lot of miners in the community, but they don't form part of the fabric of Akwatia. They're not there. In fact, if you look at the statistics from the Ghana GSS, we are told that a lot of the jobs that are in Akwatia are not mining jobs. Self-employed, white-collar jobs, services. And MPP thought they were miners. So that was the first gift MPP gave to NDC. Then you have the question of campaign messaging.
Right.
The NDC had a simple message. If you vote for our candidate, you will have easy access to government. And for that matter, there will be development coming to your way. And the people for how many years have claimed that they have not seen any development. Their roads are very, very bad. And this may be a chance for them to see something done in their constituency. So it was much easier for NDC to sell that message than MPP selling its message. While NDC was campaigning on development, and indeed the poll shows that 50% of the people who yesterday voted mentioned development as the reason why they are voting for their candidate. MPP chose to pivot on sympathy vote. And sympathy vote, we know, according to the data and from yesterday's exit poll, accounted for only 5% of people's concern. So sympathy was no significant number, and for that matter, you couldn't use that to win the by-election. Then you have a bit of, which goes back to the first point. In the last general election, about 13% of people who were voting for Kumi were from NDC. Kumi got a good number of people who are voting for him from the NDC because NDC didn't like their candidate at the time. Then in the polls, it showed that 24% of those people who are Kumi voters were deserting MPP and voting Bedu. And that actually manifested yesterday when we saw 16% of people who were voting for Bedu had previously voted for NS Kumi.
Wow. Interesting. I'm going to get my director to roll the declaration of that highly contested election at Akwatia. And quite interestingly, when the declaration was made, the MPP they were not around. Let's watch this, Mr. Mussa Dankwa, and we'll continue.
Had 82 votes. I repeat, Asumedu Solomon, NPP, had 15,235. Bernard Bediakubedu, NDC, had 18,199. Osu Patrick, LPG, had 82 votes. Total valid votes, 33,516. Total rejected ballots, 303. Total vote casts, 33,819. With the figures mentioned so far, Director, with your permission, I, Eric Osu Jemfi, the returning officer of Akwatia constituency, declare Bernard Bediakubedu as the parliamentary candidate elect, MP elect for Akwatia constituency. Thank you very much.
Very interesting results over there. And he's won with over 2,000 votes. And it's quite intriguing, Mr. Mussa Dankwa, that the NPP would win last election with some 2,000 votes, and just after some few months, NDC will come back to win it with a little over that victory they had, which was a contestation in court that they didn't get those numbers, and they were battling it in court. Now NDC has proven that they really merit that very seat. Let's get into it. I'm sure the LPG gentleman shouldn't have contested at all.
But we got to know who he is. By sheer being on a ticket, we got to know that he is Patrick, Usu Patrick. Otherwise, nobody would have known him. Sometimes you contest not to win, but to make yourself known to the public.
That's very true. And the NPP candidates pulled some 15,000. People are saying, some analysts are saying, he didn't do his campaign well. You are talking about the choice of personality, the candidate's personality himself. People are talking about his message and running of his campaign. Because if you had NDC, national executives being confronted with the demise of these 8 people, or stalwarts of the party in Accra, very busy. Asante Ketiah got a chance to be there for less than a week or 5 days, and some few other heads of the party couldn't make it as early as the NPP would have. So what really went wrong?
Campaign. This gentleman is not a cheap politician. He's been a treasurer of the party. He's not the kind of person who will be on a platform or who will be interacting with voters. So in his experience, there's none. And this is where you rely on the party machine, kind of coach him, to guide him, and to make him a very strong person that they want him to be. If you listen to what he was saying on the campaign trail, it was really something that you realize this guy is not a politician. And that really affected him. And at a point, I think the more he talks, the more he calls himself bold. So he became a liability for himself.
So, Mr. Mussa Dankwa,
and then you look at how...
Right. Please go ahead.
No, you could carry on.
All right. So I was trying to find
out. I was going to say that...
Okay. I think I have to allow you to come up. Please come up.
No, I was going to say that if you look at the numbers that came from the MPP stronghold of Wenchi, it wasn't encouraging. The moment the numbers begin to come through and Wenchi was looking very, very disappointing, I think we all knew the end was near. And then if you have to say that, okay, maybe he can make it up from Bodia, where he comes from, that was even worse. So the doors were shutting on him very early in the race, and it was so obvious he wasn't going to survive.
My question to you, and Mr. Ibrahim has also joined the discussion. Mr. Ibrahim, I'll be coming to you pretty shortly, and I want to find out, say, what would be the issue with the New Patriotic Party to the extent that they are unable to identify and pick that credible candidate for Akwatia constituency? Because we are hearing a lot. We heard some speculations that some envelopes changed hands, and you are talking about the treasurer of the party who is a minor and everything. I'm just wondering why MPP couldn't get this right. This is your seat. You rolled out this campaign around the time we are celebrating the 1 week or the 40 days of this gentleman trying to fight for some sympathy votes. And some voters interviewed by numerous television stations, they spewed it out. They said, we heard it and we saw people have taken money, so we didn't vote. We heard it.
Yes, I mean, look, it all boils down to how they assessed Akwatia and whether they felt that they needed somebody better than this candidate. They felt Akwatia deserves what they gave them. In terms of money, he has the resources to run a campaign. And in terms of what he does, minor, they thought Akwatia is mining town. For that matter, they are giving them what looks like them. Unfortunately, as I've mentioned earlier, Akwatia has moved on from 8 years ago or 9 years ago to something else, and they didn't really get that on their radar. They took their eye off the ball and they made wrong decisions based on lack of data.
So data is the thing, is the secret.
Yes.
I knew MPP to be more data, lawyer, and intellectuals. So how come they don't have the data skill to beat NDC to this?
I can't really tell. But if you look at what is happening in the MPP recently, I don't think most of their actions were guided by data. So I stand to be corrected. But clearly, if you work with data, some of the things they did in Akwatia wouldn't have been done. Some of the things they do nationally, in the way the strategy forward to look like serious opposition, is not being guided by data. To be very honest with you, maybe MPP or Party of Intellectuals is probably thing of the past, because even currently, majority of people who have higher level of education, degree, they support NDC by 42%, MPP 29% also. So they seem to have lost the elite voters, and perhaps in the party they may have lost those guys who like numbers.
That's quite interesting. I'll come back to you to analyze and look at what really worked for Bernard Baidu and the NDC and the strategies they used to clinch the seat from the New Patriotic Party. I want to welcome Mr. Ibrahim. Let's talk a little bit about Akwatia, safety and security, and then we'll come back to Mr. Mussa Dankwa. Mr. Ibrahim, good evening and welcome. Okay, I think Mr. Ibrahim can't hear me.
Good to see you too.
Okay. Mr. Ibrahim, can you hear me? Okay, so he can't hear me. Mr. Mussa Dankwa, let's continue a little bit and find out the strategies. Some accuse the NDC of misuse of incumbency, resources. People are sharing money. The strategies they use by way of message in campaign and all of that. Let's analyze that too.
You know, we've had allegation of money being used in the election in Akwatia. That is very unfortunate if that is true. Because look, we have learned from Asante that these things don't work. I mean, about 7% of Ghanaian voters we sampled last year told us that, yes, they will take money and switch their vote. Majority of them, 93%, will take their money and vote their conscience or what they've already planned. So it doesn't change anything, you know, but they keep doing this thing, and it's not really helping our democracy. Incumbency also comes in when you take decision at last minute by bringing equipment into constituency, trying to do development work because of by-election. That is really not what people want to see. And when you do that kind of thing, you tend to lose some votes because people think that you are taking them for granted and that you just come there because of the by-election and you want to do something. So it is repulsive to voters. And it's high time they recognize it. If they have done their own research, they would know that these things don't help them.
That's very true. But I understand the NDC did the same at some certain villages. Some excavators were working, constructing or leveling and doing stuff over there.
No, it's very unfortunate. They haven't learned lessons. And I've said that when it comes to this kind of behavior, they are all the same. Political parties, they don't learn lessons at all.
Wow. So what worked for the NDC is their attention to details relating to data and their campaign strategies they mounted, and a little bit of incumbency and resources over there.
Plus, also they had a very refined candidate, a candidate who could easily step into the shoes of NS Kumi. You couldn't say the same thing for Sumedu for Akwatia. My understanding is that NS Kumi just qualified to be a lawyer, unfortunately. So they see him as a branch here in that context. And Sumedu too, Baidu is also a lawyer, so a fine gentleman. So battle of lawyers rather than battle of miner and a lawyer. And I think because the constituency is highly educated, very elite, they preferred somebody who is elite as well.
That's quite interesting, because I was actually going to find out. This is General Secretary of the NDC, and this is the Treasurer of the NPP. It's a battle between executives of two parties. Essentially, the one with more resources, for me, money, should be able to win. Don't you think so?
It's because money doesn't win election anymore in this country. You can use the money to win your primaries. When it comes to the general voters, they have the final say. And over there, you can't use money to buy their vote. They will collect the money and they will vote their own conscience.
Mr. Mussa Dankwa, we have to leave it here. Thank you so much. But what's next for you? We're done with this by-election. Are you moving to Tamale Central to gauge the mood and see who would be winning?
No, Tamale, we have no interest. It's not keen enough for us to go to Tamale. Our next project will be the National Tracking Pool, which will start end of this month, third week of this month. And then the report will be expected first week of October.
Educate me a little bit. What do you mean by the National Tracking Pool?
We do our regular polls every 90 days. So the first one was done in January, another one was done in April, and then July, and now we are going to the October poll.
Okay. Maybe just a comment with what this gentleman, Michael Ochebefi, said before the election, and I think he has apologized. Maybe just a comment on that.
Oh, those are political talks. Those are political talks. You don't take them serious.
But I think it's about time we have to attach credibility and integrity to our body politics. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. I mean, as a member of parliament, you don't make such a categorical statement that people will take you on. You know you won't resign. So why do you say that? Because there's no consequences. Elsewhere, people will hold you to account, and your moral conscience will ask you to resign, and you will resign.
That's true. I can see you are very tired. You've granted a lot of interviews from yesterday till today. I will have to leave you. Say thank you so much, and thank you for being there for us anytime we knock on your doors.
It's my pleasure.
All right, so viewers, that was Mr. Mussa Dankwa, Executive Director for the Global Info Analytics. And when I return, I would engage our security expert, Mr. Irbad Ibrahim. All right, hello, welcome back. And it's still Pulse of the Week, the midweek edition. Today is the 3rd of September, 2025, with your story, Kofi, Asante, Mensah. We just finished with Mr. Mussa Dankwa. We are going on to speak with our security expert, Mr. Irbad Ibrahim. Mr. Irbad Ibrahim, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good evening, and thank you for having me as always, sir.
You look awesome, I must say.
You look better. You're a handsome man, Kofi Asante.
Thank you very much. Let's dig into it. Security and safety before, during, and after the by-election at Akwatia. What's your assessment?
By and large, I would tick every box, apart from a few altercations that happened. And we heard of reports of a threat, and then we saw two key northern politicians from both sides of the divide engaging in a heated exchange of words. Those were really, really, really unfortunate expletives that were used. That doesn't imbue confidence in the kind of role modeling we want to see for young and future national leaders, the way these ones occupy the current positions they do. So it was quite unfortunate. And it looks like now that the dust has settled, the opposition MP he has to make a decision with the police, and perhaps we may see the NDC gentleman face questioning by the police. So we wait to see. But by and large, Kofi Asante, I think it was a good exercise. I would score it more than 8 out of 10. But the numbers were too high. 5,500 police officers. When you do the math, it means if we go with
right. I was just coming to that over 5,000. We have seen a deployment to Asante North by former IGP Kofi Dankwa, around 6,000. But I was just about asking you, as a security expert, was the 5,000, little above 5,000 deployment to Akwatia necessary?
I think it wasn't necessary, even though some people will give the IGP a tap on the back, that on the back of what happened in Ablekuma North, we couldn't have taken chances. The stakes were so high. This was to set the tone for our preparation towards election 2028. But Senior Kofi Asante, if you need in excess of 5,000 police officers, you do the basic math. It means in 2028, one will be contending with 276 constituencies. You'll need more than 1.5 million police officers to achieve what we achieved in Akwatia yesterday. Not even the United States can cobble together 1.5 million police officers. So let's allow security to happen organically. The international community is watching. If we keep touting ourselves as one of the most peaceful countries on the African continent, and if you have an election in 119 or 120 polling centers, you need over 5,000 police officers. And are you talking about positive peace or negative peace? Negative peace is when you use the bully pulpits of the state to enforce peace, when in fact the underlying conditions are not predisposed to peace. So it looks good for the optics. No casualties, nothing happened. There was a very strong cordon around the coalition center. All speak and span. You would give it a clean bill of health. But beyond that, how is the international community viewing this? So for me, and again, Kofi Asante, Accra was left naked. The capital of the country was left naked. Literally, the whole of the police, national police, headquarters were moved to Akwatia. So God forbid, if there was a terrorist attack, if there was any infiltration by adversaries, I don't think our defenses would have been too strong. So it was a serious national security breach for us to have all the upper echelons of the Ghana police too much in a small place, and there was a saturation. So 1/8 of your police force almost goes to one small area just to secure one parliamentary seat. That is not good enough.
All right, so right now I'll let my producer play us some insert from Akwatia where we saw some little chaos and some threats of assault, and when we return we might get a better light to Mr. Ibrahim.
Excuse me.
All right, so welcome back. Those are some few worrying videos from Akwatia. This is quite unfortunate. Some verbal assaults on some politicians over there. So let's go back to Ibrahim to get the perspective and explore what he has said so far. So far, he has given the IGP some 8/10, and I want to interrogate that further. And the deployment also made by the IGP is shorted down a little bit, indicating that Accra was quite naked. So let's have Mr. Ibrahim back on the line. Mr. Ibrahim, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
How would you score a gentleman 8/10 and still turn back to say we were naked in Accra and his skill of deployment was bad?
You scored a good mark, a good rating, because you securitized Akwatia. Akwatia may be a few kilometers squared. And then if you were able to put your acts together, we saw how strict it was for people to get accreditation and have access to some sensitive parts of the area, the multiple checkpoints we heard of and all those. So when you look at the securitization, the isolation of a small area, we created an ironclad cordon around Akwatia. So in terms of strategy, and then the way the police officers were spread across the area, that was some top-notch deployment. But beyond that, you look at the bigger picture. At what cost did we achieve that securitization of Akwatia? We did so at the cost of other very important and pertinent security needs of the country, including the administrative capital. And that was literally left naked because of the heavy deployment of police officers and the fact that those who mattered the most. Because, Kofi, in crisis situations, you rely on your security hierarchy for command and control. So, God forbid, the IGP wasn't here, and maybe other key members of the police board, police management board, MOPOMAP, were all not here. You can imagine if an explosive went off, even though we don't, pray for that. You can imagine if some miscreants took that opportunity to invade the capital. You can imagine if some people, even within the system, were interested in doing something foul during that period. And already there was a declaration of how many police officers would take to Akwatia beforehand. So if people really wanted to harm Ghana's security, especially the capital of Accra, the writing was on the wall. They had all the intelligence information thrown out on radio and television, and that would have been disastrous for our security.
Right. Do you think IGP Your Honor would not make intelligent arrangement for the capital and other adjoining regions for that very deployment he made to Akwatia, in place of that very deployment he made to Akwatia?
Anytime a commander leaves the battlefield, he leaves behind a viceroy. He leaves behind a representative, a vicegerent, so to speak. But how if we went chasing, actually, in Akwatia? You are a nation that is badly battered by ethnic violence. You are a nation that is badly battered by cases of unresolved murders, and you saturate all of your, police force in one area. It leaves room for questioning our strategy. They say that the end justifies the means. Yes, of course, we've had the end we wished for Akwatia, but the means can be better in future.
That's okay. Now let's leave there and look at what really happened at Akwatia. the unfortunate ones. Reason why you deducted some 2 marks from the 10 for IGP Yono to score some 8 out of 10. Now let's look at that. The New Patriotic Party is up this evening that they are calling out Chief Azoka to be arrested. Do you see this call as justified?
Threat of any kind to even a regular citizen. For example, Kofi, if your neighbor told you, had I come home to meet you in the afternoon, you wouldn't live to witness nightfall. And that alone would warrant you walking to the nearest police station to lodge a complaint. We heard that there was a verbal threat on the minority leader in parliament, but I believe just 48 hours, no, some 24 hours after the close of the polls, and the NPP has realized it's a done deal. It has lost Akwatia. So now the decision has to be made whether to raise this up by lodging a complaint, an official complaint with the police. It's not a matter of the state against an individual. It is a threat on the person of a certain person. You can see those who made unsavory comments about the person of the president on TikTok, they are going to court because their issue has to do with the republic. Their issue has to do with the attorney general, who is the #1 legal advisor to the president. But where the threat comes from citizen A to citizen B, then the onus lies upon citizen B or his assigns, his or her assigns. In this case, the group it belongs to a political party to officially lodge a complaint. So that docket or file, that criminal file, can be opened. But those party functionaries who went to Akwatia, I believe, have come back to Accra or gone back to other parts of the country. So would you want to dramatize what happened in Akwatia by lodging a complaint here in the capital of Accra? Or you would ask the Eastern Regional Executives of the MPP to, on behalf of the 3rd Vice Chairman, lodge a complaint because Akwatia falls under the jurisdiction of the Eastern Regional Police Command. It will be a test of our laws and our security arrangements surrounding our electoral processes for us to see how far this can go. But if nothing happens and then nobody is called in for questioning, then it will only open an aperture of opportunity to revisit the creation or revival of sleeper cells, vigilante groups that were dissolved as a result of the Anti-Vigilante and Other Offences Act in Parliament. So it means that Delta Force may be revived, Invincible Forces may be revived, only with the refrain that we were not secure in Akwatia and the police didn't even do the list by effecting an arrest or inviting somebody who threatened our leader in Parliament and physically assaulted our 3rd Vice Chairman. And so it leaves so much to be desired. And then the coming days will tell how the chips fall, so to speak.
What balls would this gentleman have to threaten not just an ordinary member or not just a member of parliament, but the minority leader? I'm just trying to gauge that power, that zeal. He has been majority. Within some few 8 months back, he lost power. NDC is back in power. Right.
I agree with you, Kofi. The pedigree of the victim or subject of this threat. The MPP, as the largest opposition party, currently has no flag bearer. Its national chairman has taken ill. One of the deputies is only acting. So technically, you would say that Honorable Afenyomakin goes beyond being the leader of one wing of the party, which is Parliament, its representation in Parliament. He's just a whisker away from being called the current overall leader, so to speak, of the opposition New Patriotic Party. So this is serious enough. Let's not sweep this under the carpet. Let's see how we test the laws. Only God knows Even though Tamale Central, I had your conversation with Mussa Dankwa. Tamale Central is going to be a one-way election, so to speak. It is not going to be competitive. But who knows how many by-elections can happen before 2028? And if nothing is done about such threats, if nothing is done about
Right, so I think we have a little connection problem with our guest, Mr. Ibrahim. He will join us pretty shortly. I have some few more questions to ask him on the aftermath of the elections, the by-election, and some few general security questions. And Mr. Ibrahim, please, are you back? All right, so we'll still move on. I'll employ my producer to roll some few videos we witnessed in Akwatia. There was a lot of jubilant mood. People were drumming and dancing, singing and Shi Jama and singing Muhammad's song, campaign song, and a lot of jubilant moods in Akwatia yesterday. So we weren't successful with Ibrahim. His line has really gone very bad. I'm sure on Friday we'll have a lot of time to spend with Mr. Ibrahim, a security expert. This has been the show from the ballot box all the way in Akwatia in the eastern region of the Republic of Ghana in that crucial by-election, and a little of the suspension, not really suspension, the indication that the Chief Justice has been removed. So on the 1st of September is historical, because since 1963 that Dr. Kwame Nkrumah removed the Chief Justice of this Republic, we haven't attempted to remove any Chief Justice, not even within the military era. The judiciary system was kept, and this time around, John Dramani Mahama has removed Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Sabatokono. We would have a lengthy discussion with our legal brains. We're booked to have Justice Abdullahi this evening, but he couldn't make it. Also, lawyer Martin Pebu, he couldn't make it. We'll see about it on Friday and have an extensive discussion with all of them. Until then, my name is Kofi Asante Mensah. Thank you for being there for us, and to our production team, God bless you, and we'll meet again. This has been Pulse of the Week, the midweek edition, and it's a bye for now.